Well, guys, there's a big trade to announce here. One of the bigger ones in the last number of days. Max Domi has been traded from the Montreal Canadiens to the Columbus Blue Jackets in exchange for Josh Anderson and a third round pick in this year's draft. My thoughts on the trade are it's tough to tell. I mean, the Habs, they add a lot of size with Josh Anderson. Obviously, he's a big boy. With Max Domi, I think the Columbus Blue Jackets add some much needed skill up front. I think Domi is an interesting case, though. I mean, this is his third team now in the last, 2 or 3 years. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see going forward. As for Anderson, I think he's going to fit in well with the Habs. I think you can see Mark Bergevin's trying to add more size there to that lineup. I don't think Anderson has quite the upside Domi does, but I don't know. Maybe this trade ends up being even. I think I like both. I like the trade for both teams, but I think right now Max Domi is a good pick for the Columbus Blue Jackets, rather I should say. And as for his career, though, it's a bit rocky. I think it's a guy they're taking quite a gamble on. I think Domi has potential to be a good player. I don't know if he's going to be as great as he was a season ago in the 18-19 season, or maybe 2 seasons ago, that is now. But as for Domi, his career stats look a bit like this. So in the 15-16 season, he plays 78 games. He scores 18 goals, 34 assists for 52 points. Pretty good rookie season in Arizona. Everyone's really excited about him. I mean, I was excited about him too back then at that point. And then in 16-17, he has a bit of a setback. Obviously, he had a big injury that year. Played 59 games, got 9 goals, 29 assists, 38 points. Not bad considering he was in limited action that year, but it is a bit of a step back from last year, but it's understandable, like I said, considering his injury. As for 17-18, this is where things get pretty concerning for him. He plays 82 games. He gets 9 goals, 36 assists, 45 points. The assists are okay. Obviously, the goals are really concerning with only 9. I believe like 4 or 5 of those were empty netters too that year, so that's not good. And that's when the Coyotes kind of gave up on him. It seemed like they traded him to Galchenyuk. At the time they did it, I thought, well, I mean, this is a clear win for Arizona. I think Galchenyuk has more goal-scoring potential than Domi. I think it looked like an all-out win for the Coyotes. Then in 18-19, Max Domi proves everybody wrong. Galchenyuk kind of falters a bit in Arizona. He disappoints a bit there. Domi absolutely impresses 100% of the way in Montreal by scoring playing all 82 games, scoring 28 goals, 44 assists for 72 points. He looks like a superstar, an all-star. You can tell he's loving life in Montreal. Everything's all fine and dandy for him there. And then this season hits, and people were kind of thinking, how's Domi going to follow that season up? Is that the type of player he was? Was it just a flash in the pan type of season where he looked really good for that 1 year, putting up all those points, scoring all those goals? He looked like an absolute superstar at times out there. And then in this season coming up, there were a lot of question marks, and unfortunately a lot of them were not answered on Max Domi's part. He plays in 71 games. He scores 17 goals, 27 assists for a total of 44 points. Now, that is pretty respectable for the most part, but I do think a lot of people were expecting a lot more out of Max Domi just because of the season he had before in 18-19. But I think it's a good trade for both teams. I think Domi has a lot of upside. I think Anderson has a lot of upside. I think it's a trade where both guys still haven't quite reached their full potential yet. Obviously, Josh Anderson dealt with a lot of injuries this year, so that kind of marred his progress and stuff like that, but I think he should be good if he's healthy for the Habs this year. And as for Domi, we'll wait and see. I think he can be a good player for them. Maybe he has a great first year with Columbus like he did in Montreal, but we'll see. And this news obviously comes a bit unexpected there just right before the draft, but I'm excited to talk to you guys about the draft coming up, so I'm looking forward to that, and I'll see you guys then.